Welcome back, everybody, to New Orcs on the Block. Our icebreaker question for today: what is your favorite or most memorable interaction with an NPC in a video game?
I have to say, when I was playing Animal Crossing, the one person I always came back to each day was Sable because I don't know, it's like every other character is nice to you except for one, and the only way to make them nice to you is to talk to them all the time. So, no, be memorable because of that. It helps that they get you more patterns and stuff. So,
Nice. I've never actually played Animal Crossing.
it's pretty good
I
if
know.
you have
Yeah.
time for it.
My one was the first Walking Dead Telltale game. I love story-driven games anyway, and the interaction with Clem, who is an NPC that essentially you kind of protect through that game. The character building and the interactions with that character really stayed with me. It's very emotional, that whole game, and I loved it. Um, yeah, that's the one that sticks in my mind.
Yeah, I really love The Walking Dead as well. A lot of Telltale
Mm.
stuff over the years.
So my game is probably either Final Fantasy VII or Earthbound, and I feel
Ooh.
like the interactions with all of the little characters in like the one-off NPCs that you'll meet, like randomly running into a different person on the street, and they'll just say something super interesting to you about the world, or they'll talk back to you. But I always felt like the character writing in those games is that there's a young impressionable youth. It was one of those games where you talk to all of the NPCs, even though like some of them are like the slums suck, like that's it, like that's their major contribution. But it's still sometimes you'd catch a nugget.
Mhm. I was gonna say, having done a lot of like Final Fantasy, it's really hard to pick one. But I was
Right.
thinking about it, and has anybody played Tales of Vesperia?
Yeah.
So you spend the first 5 hours, and they keep talking about this guy called Flynn, who's your character's friend, and you finally run into this guy, and it's not a nice interaction at first. He just starts screaming at you, and it's hilarious. You think you're gonna, and it's like, oh yeah. So I loved when you finally run into the Flynn guy. So top
That's
notch.
funny.
That is on sale, 80% off
Oh
Go
wow.
grab it.
on
Definitely
Steam.
worth
Wow,
it. I
all
think
right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
that
go
might be one of my favorite games.
$10. I'm gonna go grab that. Okay.
Yes. Grab it, play it, stream it. I don't have time to watch you stream it, but tell me how it goes.
Tales of Vesperia is not a sponsor. Like,
No.
Not
Just to clarify.
Bandai.
So my favorite is probably on Skyrim, because it keeps track of how friendly NPCs are to you, and you reach that point with NPCs where they're friendly enough to greet you with "Divine smile on you, friend," and that's when you know you're in with them. Like that's the phrase.
Mhm.
And they all say it with the same intonation, except Farengar, the court wizard at Whiterun.
Mhm.
The way I don't know if they gave the actor this direction or what, but the voice says it in this kind of awkward way, like the pause and the rhythm isn't quite right, and you can tell like he doesn't say that very often. So like he doesn't have a lot of friends, and now you're one of his very few friends.
Oh.
And I don't know, it just sounds special to me the way that
Oh,
that
that's
goes.
Nice. Good head canon.
Mhm.
Yeah, the Bethesda games in general do a really good job with like those little NPC interactions where like
Yeah.
they'll say something when you walk by.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
definitely,
does,
definitely.
does anybody know the technical term for that when you haven't like talked to them yet and they're just you hear audio as you pass by? Anybody know the industry term for that?
Oh.
Ambient?
Holy.
It's called barking.
Oh.
Yeah,
Art?
that actually.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Because I think I remember that from Roller Coaster Tycoon. They do it there, but it's not talking. It's just the little like they'll make like interactions.
The
They
little
call
thought
that.
bubbles, yeah.
Yeah. They call that barking then. So it makes
Yeah.
sense. It would just translate to
Hmm.
the new forms.
So cool.
Well, speaking of NPC interactions, I think we're going to have some fun ones today.
Yay.
Because last time y'all got us pretty well off the rails in terms of getting to this secret experimental lumber camp. I guess you don't know it's experimental yet, but you'll find that out soon enough. Where adventure as written, you're supposed to go into the woods and find this place and make some survival checks. There's an encounter along the way. Maybe you're supposed to meet allies along the way. Maybe you're not. Who knows? I mean, I know. But y'all decided to try to get a job at this place. And you succeeded. In fact, you crit succeeded at getting a letter of introduction to this place that is providing lumber to the town of Maravon in the middle of a pretty big worker strike. Now, the lumber strike is going on because of some changes to insurance regulations. It turns out only Abjuration Associates policies are being accepted for lumber workers now, and they are refusing to write policies for the orcs who technically don't live in town. And so there's been a bit of a back and forth over that. There's a strike going on, and somebody somewhere is crossing the picket line, and you were sent to try to investigate this. And you came out into this lumber site here, where you quickly realize, no, people have technically not crossed the picket line. It's a mechanical construction. So let's pop up a visual of this here. So I'm going to show in the upper left corner what these things look like. And you've got several of these things hulking around the work site. Some of them are bringing lumber to the site. Some of them are processing the lumber. You do see some humanoids about who are either taking notes on these things or making repairs or trading out hand attachments. But these seem to be doing the bulk of the work, these artificial loggers. And so you have arrived, you managed to get a ride on one of the delivery trucks that was on its way back from Maravon. You have stepped out and realized, oh, this is a little bit bigger than we had anticipated. We're supposed to come back with information about who crossed the picket line, and now there's like, oh, there's more stuff going on here than we had anticipated. So you've gotten out. The folks who received the truck are kind of asking questions of the driver. Who are these people? What are they doing here? What's everybody's kind of general approach as you arrive? No one has yet asked you a question directly, but what's kind of everybody's MO as you depart the delivery truck?
I am silent as stone. I don't want to. We haven't had a time to talk yet, so don't want to cause any situations that are could be caused.
Remind me though, Brian, we've got paperwork, we've got a writ of employment to work here now, right?
A writ of employment to work here, yes. So you have a letter of introduction from Quartos Consortium headquarters. I imagine you produced that pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Aren't we here auditing? We're auditing a plague, right, to the trees? Isn't that the lie we come up with?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we should just be really brazen and we've got official credentials. Let's just seek out the person in charge.
Okay.
Could we try? I might try something desperate. I might be like, we have to shut this whole operation down right now. These trees are not. You cannot. We have to shut it down right now. Like, if anybody else wants to deny that, but I am going to be the auditor right now that fully believes that this is a danger to the people that will have this wood, and I'm trying to sell that narrative. That's going to be my immediate.
Because of the irregularity, you're going that angle,
right.
Not because it's actually is terribly dangerous.
Right. Now, you all can back me up, or you can be like, whoa, slow down what we need to do. But, like, I'm going to come out with that lead. So, like, and I'll try to mold my narrative to whatever we decide to do. So.
No, I like that.
Okay, yeah.
I like that.
Go ahead, Dan.
I'll be following you along. I'll be watching and listening. I'm part of the serious procession here. This is a serious manner.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna play on your dead seriousness. I'm gonna be like, do you see him laughing? That's why. That's how bad it is.
Yeah. Who's the best of us at diplomacy?
Oh.
Really quick, Helen, what is Danya's tactic? I don't think we heard from her.
Wait, no, I'm just laughing along at this. I'm sorry.
Okay.
No, I'm trying to remember. I'm sorry. I tried to remember how she tagged along as part of this. Actually, I was dealing with the fact that I had a bad message in the background I was trying to deal with while staying engaged. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're okay.
She will go
I
along with somebody else's tactic for this one.
Okay.
Follow
I was gonna
through.
say I didn't review the recording either, so probably should have.
You foresaw
Okay.
all the damages from if we don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just
You're a
maybe she's catatonic from seeing how bad this will be.
We have to be careful. We don't want you to get any of the bugs on you. I'll say to them.
Well, perhaps I can be persuasive when I need to be. Perhaps we should sort of try and throw everybody off guard here. If you're gonna go in hard with this message of the camp needs to be shut down, maybe I'm a little softer. What I'm proposing is that we have a bad auditor, good auditor situation.
Maybe a quarantine or some kind. We need to get everybody.
Oh,
Quarantine sounds like a good idea.
bad auditor, good auditor. I will be the tree speaker to mediate. Maybe, I don't know.
Anya, the Lorax.
I guess so.
We could
The
use a
druid's like,
Lorax
They don't talk.
ancestry.
We have Fae.
Okay, so as you kind of do your good auditor, bad auditor routine, I imagine one
Yeah.
of the folks receiving the truck, because you're not going to have the person in charge there receiving the truck, runs off to one of the campsites and comes back with this fellow in tow. Let me make him visible. And did I get a name for him? I think I did.
Shoot, where did that guy come from? Don't
So
recognize
to
him.
review, you, yeah, just to okay, I did give him a name. That's right. So just to review what you see before you, you find a square of forest 2,000 feet on each side that has been mostly cleared of trees. From your vantage point, you can see these large humanoid-shaped constructs felling trees, delimbing trunks, processing and loading lumber for delivery. The constructs work tirelessly while a handful of observers inspect their work and take notes. This observation, it has confirmed Organis' suspicion that no, Turpin Row did not cross the picket line. That is no longer a problem in the plot. This foreman, smoking a pipe, approaches you from one of the office huts over there. He seems incredulous at your arrival, like he seems to be regarding you. But he introduces himself as Gebril Otent. And he says, I did not know we were expecting new hands to arrive, and well, no offense, but by the looks of you, none of you looks to be much of a logger. But of course, as you can tell, we have no real use for loggers here.
Mm-hmm.
So what business brings you to this work site today?
Well, we don't
You're right,
want to be here, but we have to be.
Fair
You're
enough.
right, Gabriel. We're not loggers ourselves per se, but we're here for a very important purpose. We think that what's happening here is dangerous. There's a problem with the wood that you're logging.
Very dangerous. I interject.
I have not seen any problems with our products. Perhaps you would care to elaborate.
Oh, sure. To the naked eye, maybe they don't look that bad, but to a trained eye, and I point at Gog, you can easily tell that this wood is infected with plague, and we can't be distributing this to everybody in Maravan. I'm a little unnerved by the amount of lack of restraint and authenticity in making sure your lumber is suitable for use. I just can't. My colleague Bamba is willing to be a little more considerate to your needs, but I just want to shut it all down. Let's just. I think
Artemis, we can't be sure that what's going on here is due to their incompetence. Maybe it's just ignorance, as you suggest. I mean, we can't assume that these are foolish people just going around willy-nilly cutting down any old tree they see. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt.
I'm sure they can speak.
Now, as I mentioned, and I hope you do be able to see, we do not have people just going around cutting every tree that they see. And while I agree, perhaps their mechanisms may need some fine-tuning, I do think it's necessary to call my work product insufficient. And he taps a stack of lumber that's getting ready to be loaded. I do see any evidence of plague here. What manner of plague do you speak of?
Can I pick a bug off one of the logs or something?
Sure.
Not a common, easily identifiable one, but just one of them, and talk about how as a lumber town, we have to be careful about these sorts of creatures that are infesting the wood. If it gets into this place, then any other place it's gonna infest everywhere else, and then we don't have the lumber in our town.
Are you trying to pick a bug off that's actually there, or are you trying to plant a bug on the...
Oh, that's a good
literally
question.
plant a bug.
Oh, yeah.
I think plant a bug. You're a druid, right? There's one in there somewhere.
Yeah, I probably
can
put it in
find a
my
bug.
pocket. I mean, either way, I guess.
Basically, do you want to make a nature check, or do you want to make a thievery check?
Oh yes, I'll make a nature check.
If there isn't a bug, just tap Danya. She can make a bug be there.
Yeah, this plague is a very specific plague. It's called plagiarism. It's very common on trees, especially when you use these types of creatures to fell them.
Find a bug. I can't
Actually,
maybe it's a really obvious bug.
I gotta write. Oh shoot! I gotta write this down for something else. Hold on. Plagiarism in that thing we're working on, Brian.
Yes, and that thing we're working on, that would be a good curse to have.
I'll give you credit for that later, Tony.
Bomber just gives Artemis a little
Actually,
nod.
at Gog's inability to find a bug, can I try to create a diversion? I'm like, oh god, look, he's over there cutting one down now.
Sure, go for it.
I'll give it.
Well, I mean,
Create a diversion. Is that a secret check?
Perhaps the lack of bugs on the logs is itself indicative of the plague.
I just had it open last night. I should know this. Say again?
I said perhaps the fact that there's no bugs on the logs is indicative of the plague.
No.
The fact that there's no evidence of a problem really means there's a problem. No, create a diversion, oddly enough, is not secret.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess I know if he looks or not, right?
Yeah, that's true.
I guess that's how it works.
Okay.
I'm not sure I did any better. I tried.
Probably not. Let me check
this
on
is so
his.
easy. I'll just. What's this?
It's a
what's
perception
the smallest...
DC.
Gosh, is there an
And
undead rat I can summon?
He looks over at where you're pointing, and you're pointing at one of the machines that is being repaired. And he says, well, like I said, I agree that, some of these machines perhaps do need some fine-tuning. I certainly would prefer not to replace human workers with them, but orders are orders.
I can see that Dem and Danya have got... Gog and Danya have got something going on with the stack of logs, so... Bomber's going to try his own diversion just with a bit of diplomacy, though, and he says, listen, Gabriel, I understand that you've got a business to run here and there's shareholders to please, and we understand that more than you can think. We're in the auditing business. But believe it or not, none of us are against progress. We can see that the machines can do the job quicker. There's no denying that. But there's a bigger issue here, and the disease, that doesn't care about profit margins and productivity. If we don't act on this now, then it's going to spread and it'll ruin everything that you've built here. So just let us do our jobs, and if we shut this place down for a short time, you're going to take a hit, of course, but it'll be a lot less painful than if this whole thing crumbles to dust. Which incidentally is what the plague causes the lumber to do.
It's disintegration plague. Question. Going back to last session, did your letter specify you're coming to look at infected trees, or
I
was it just
believe
I think it
that's
was-
what we were trying to.
I think that's the lie that y'all
Something.
started with. Okay.
It was
So,
irregular. I'm
uh,
not sure if it was infected, but it was definitely some irregularity with
Okay.
How
we
the
were saying there was
planks were
something
coming
wrong with
out?
the wood.
because it was something like, oh no, there's a jag here and it shouldn't be there. Like, does that ring in
So
a bell?
Jamie,
Yeah,
why don't you? Are you doing a deception check here? I'm guessing.
I can either do deception or diplomacy, whichever you think is
Let's
more
make a
appropriate there,
deception, because you are lying to him. But let's give you a +2 item bonus, because you do have a letter that specify it's on the right stationery. It's gonna have the right letterhead and everything.
really. Okay, cool. Thank you. Is this secret?
Yeah, let's make this one secret.
Yeah. Okay.
And you can tell me if you are willing to use a hero point on it. I know we usually don't use those for secret checks, but
I am willing to use a hero point.
Okay.
Because it's a good way to talk our way in. Okay, let's see. Blind GM roll then, right?
blind GM roll, correct.
There you go.
All right. Since you have told me you are willing to re-roll using a hero point, we're going to go ahead and do that. Okay. He looks at the letter. He looks at you. He looks at the silent, grim puppet. And he says, "Look, I will need to see some evidence of this plague. I cannot simply shut down the entire operation just because someone shows up on one of my trucks. Even if even if there's a letter here, I cannot simply shut down the operation. I don't even have the authority to shut down the operation. I'm literally just a supervisor here. I tell you what I can do, though. I can give you a day with a sample of the product. You get me some evidence that there's plague. You get me some evidence, some hard, visible evidence I can see. And then we can talk about taking appropriate measures. Does that sound fair?"
It does, but how about in the day that you give us to investigate, you just pause operations for that day? You can perform maintenance on the machines, whatever you need to do. But I think every moment is precious here.
Well, I'll need to speak with the technicians over there to see if
I know you can do it,
in
bro.
their schedule.
Well, you put the super in supervisor. If anyone can do it, you can.
How about can everybody give me a perception check just to suss out this guy's motive here?
Motives.
Oh, cool. Nat 20.
All right, finally a good roll.
Nice.
What are those?
Oh, Dim made yours secret. There we go. Okay, yeah, you all kind of, as you're talking, you all kind of pick up that he seems to regard these machines and their technicians with a bit of avarice. He seems to not like this arrangement here. He seems to only comment on the work site as a work site, not like what's going on with the machines. Tony, with your crit success, you can actually tell he's feeling a little bit maybe left out of the chain of command here. Just some of the things he says, it sounds like, when he said, "Oh, if those technicians with their schedule," it almost sounds like maybe he's not the one actually in charge of the technicians themselves.
With that knowledge, I will immediately ask him. I want to, I guess, query him on. I was like, well, who is in charge of these technicians? Are they making sure that the parasitic analytical unit is active on these machines? The thing that makes sure that they don't cut down the wrong trees.
What kind of skill check would you like to use to prompt his response there?
I would probably try to use deception for this, because I don't think that unit exists. I could try to argue that it's a society check because I'm trying to play to the inner workings while knowing about it, and I have courtly graces, so I can sometimes lie with society, but I don't know how you want.
because I know you're playing a witch, right? So your witch would be intelligence based. If you've got crafting or anything that might pertain to the construction of these things, you could also use that.
I am really good at untrained crafting, but I am
Okay.
untrained. Actually, I take it back. I have untrained improvisation. So this is basically the guy where it's like, oh, it's your doodad. Like, I'm legitimately going, it's your doodad, like, about these machines. And the Tinkerer people, I'm hoping to, like, prop up my own, like, I'm trying to seem more knowledgeable than I am on the subject that will make them question, well, maybe he is right. Like, you know, like,
Okay.
it was like, nobody told us that there was a parasitic analytical unit. Like, well, when were we supposed to turn those on? And then I'll be like, well, it's probably your supervisor's fault. And then the Tinkerers will be like, classic supervisor not telling us about the parasitic analytic unit. So
Okay.
that's my whole
yeah.
plan. You tell me what I want to roll. So
Helen's got lore middle management.
Oh, jeez, that's in the words.
Helen, literally. I think that's fine. Or if you want to stick with, if your deception's higher, that's fine too. I was trying to help you max out your skill check there, but whatever of those is highest for you.
Okay, is society a yes nod then?
Society sounds fine. Yeah. If you want to play up the whole managerial aspect of it.
Okay, and is it blind? It'll be blind, I'm assuming.
No, let's make it open.
Alrighty, let's see.
Ooh, nice.
And he looks at you dead in the eye, and he says, "Oh, so they didn't tell you that he doesn't come here?
Oh.
I'm just supposed to forward the technician's reports to him with my lumber?"
Oh.
Unfortunately for him, the auditors determine whether or not the units can stay in use. And if he didn't even check for the parasitic analytic unit, I mean, if you can't come out here and do your job, then I think some of the responsibility's on him.
Okay, fine. I will talk to the technicians. I will see if they will listen to me and not have to wait to hear back from their precious architect. But I will see what I can do, yes.
Architect,
and he will go off
crying on the
and speak
inside.
to each of the technicians in turn, and you can see visually see an argument going on there, but eventually they do start to, wave the constructs over. They perch them down, and they start to take them apart for maintenance. And it looks like you've got your day.
Wow.
Okay.
Excellent.
Now I blow them all up, right? Now that they're in one little area. But yeah, I mean, do I think I can fake a disease on them?
How much would just making a plague of undead bunnies freak people out? Because I could definitely do that.
You make a bunch of dead bunnies show
Well, I was
up.
looking for undead bugs, but the
horrifying.
best I could do was undead bunnies at a low level. I mean,
Can you do swarms? Oh yeah, I guess not.
no.
Well, unless we can give the swarms the undead trait, which might be legal, depending. But
Not last
yeah, I
time
think
I
that
checked.
sounds like a great idea if we want to make that part of the plague.
Dead bunnies.
So he does come back and he allows you to set up in this purple tent to the north here. So you can set up shop there. It gives you a little bit of privacy to maybe concoct a plan for either how you're going to fake this disease or how you're going to gather information. Let me go ahead and share with you some activities you can use. So this is going to use a reconnaissance subsystem. I believe I can just click on show players. Configure ownership, no change, show players. There we go. So you'll be able to see that your goal here is to gather reconnaissance points. There's different activities you can use there. Each time you use a reconnaissance activity, you've got to make 2 checks. You make a reconnoiter check using one of the skills that's listed there. As always, you are welcome to argue for alternative skills. But you also need to try to avoid notice. Now, because you can be here out in the open, I've added skills to the avoid notice so that you can use deception to pretend like it's part of your job. I've also lowered the DCs for each of these because they know that you're there. You're not sneaking around in the adventure as written. But as always, you are welcome to propose other activities. It looks like we are concocting a plague as well, so we'll see how that factors in.
Can you share it with us again? I clicked the X.
Is there one more time? Oh yeah. Show
available to us in the journals.
Notes too.
Oh yeah, I guess I can. Can I just drag that into the journal box? I have it in my notes, but
Gosh, I hope so.
let me see what I can do with that.
I don't have a journal thing myself, but
they're not in the journal
okay.
docs. That's interesting. Make them invisible in the journal docs.
Journal entries, directory. Okay, I think what I need to do
them
is
on the recording screen, which you can't see because we're not streaming.
Yep. Let me do this. Let me get player journal. I think that'll work. Create folder. And then what I can do is...
Okay. While he's doing that, though...
yeah, go for it. Yeah, why don't y'all strategize for a minute?
So is it really that we're going to try to make this guy panic enough to shut it down, or what are we trying to do?
Well, we're also trying to find out information, apparently.
Well, we've got 1 day.
Is it 24 hours or
8 hours or 24 hours? Yeah.
Let's say you've arrived middle of the day and you have until end of the next day.
Oh, well, that's nice.
A work day and a half.
Work day and a half. Does that include lunch break?
So 12 hours of total time that we can use. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Would I be able to I don't know? Would me working on the disease help other people's checks or something, like giving us more time?
Yeah, let's say your progress with the disease. If you can succeed at that, you have avoided notice for everybody. Because as soon as there's a disease, the rest of you can go wherever you want.
Okay. All right. Should I make another nature check or something? Use my knowledge or force.
Yeah. Why don't y'all talk for a minute about how you want to fake a disease among the trees, and then we can maybe get some folks to aid.
I like this. I like this idea. Okay.
So I like your undead idea.
Oh, really?
As much as I don't usually like the undead are an affront to nature, but currently we need an affront to nature.
And this is
all right. There should now be on the journals tab a player journal folder, and then an item called reconnaissance. I need to give you ownership of reconnaissance.
Okay,
there we go.
player journal, reconnaissance,
now.
visible, excellent.
Thank you.
Perfect.
But yes, okay, so undead. Does anyone else want to... I was thinking of getting mold or something and just putting it there. I don't know.
Wait,
or finding bugs.
Do I have pain with me?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so I'm gonna be like, look what it did to this poor gorilla. It looks like it's been combined with an elephant.
Gorilla?
They're not even from this region. It's super weird.
Do we have a picture for that?
It used to be
can be chasing the bunnies.
The foreman will come up to you at one point and say, Where did you get that animal, by the way?
I rescued him from these woods. Terrible what you guys have been doing out here.
I'm trying to understand where these animals are coming from that don't belong here.
Okay, so undead bunnies are definitely, I guess, on the menu. How many of these can
And that's what we're here for, to get to the bottom of these questions.
Exactly. You're so smart, Gabriel. You're asking the right questions. They should definitely put you in charge of the technicians.
Bomba's such a master of diplomacy.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I thought this was gonna be good versus bad. This is more bad versus passive aggressive.
Bomba can't help himself.
Very well done.
All right, so we're showing a mutated gorilla. We're raising a swarm of undead bunnies.
If we're doing something with undead, then I could probably aid with religion.
I guess, like, seriously,
to
how
help
many?
out on that.
Okay,
That
if we want the
sounds
undead bunnies, just let me know how many times I'm casting. Because I only have
Pull
so
the
many.
trigger on the undead bunnies.
But I can cast. Let's see.
How many times can you cast?
Well, it is
Many?
my signature spell, so. But I don't want to just
I feel like this
spam
is gonna be a
undead,
hard
raise
sell.
undead.
Dem, what are you doing to the lumber itself?
Yeah, that's true.
I'm gonna find a bunch of bugs and put it in there, and I'm gonna find a bunch of like moss and like weird mold and maybe some slime molds or something, and
Ooh,
I
good
don't know,
stuff.
just some weird things that people might find uncomfortable that are just like normal to be around here that they might not know about.
That's great. I actually, so I'm gonna help corroborate Gog's lie, or
Oh.
like to try to find it. Is there anybody that's been sent home from the camp recently?
Ooh.
Like, could I try to find out if somebody's been? Because I'm gonna sow a rumor that the stuff that Gog is finding is the reason that person had to leave camp. Like they got sick.
Yes.
If
you
not,
do-
then never mind.
I was gonna say, why don't you give a diplomacy check to gather some information about people who have been sent home?
Yeah, I mean, if I can, I mean, I could also potentially like your line, and I'm like aiding you with nature or something. I don't know what would be better. I'm not trained in deception, so
Well, I think
I mean,
you could probably attempt a nature check
okay. Can I
to
just roll that?
fake the disease. Well, I'm trying to figure out how to get some aiding set up here. So Jamie's going to aid with religion to point at the zombie bunnies. Tony, you actually hear that yes, there was somebody sent home, but it's because they got pinched by a giant crab. Which everybody's trying to figure out where the giant crab came from because you are nowhere near the shore.
Okay, guys, do we have a real issue here?
Yeah, we're like telling lies. We're like, yeah, and the
Crab.
giant crab too. And I was like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, I
know,
mean,
yeah.
no,
I
yeah,
don't know
that's
what's
the
going on
problem.
Yeah, there's so many animals around here that are in the wrong place. Like actually, I mean, there was that marking from way earlier.
Like,
But
I know I'm supposed to have this like read the future stuff. I want some read the past stuff. How did somebody get clipped by a crab?
So if that's the case, then I will aid Gog with the nature check, and I'll say that's why such and such got sent home. It's like the crab, all part of the same thing because I found out about it. So
Okay.
hooray!
Oh, nice.
oh, disappoint.
So
sorry.
since it's based on a true event, let's count that as a successful aid, because your GM is allowed to change the DC for aid. So, Dim, whenever you're ready, go ahead and make a nature check
Did I roll another
with a
one?
+1. Oh, did you already? Oh, you already rolled a 37.
Yeah, I
okay,
think
well-
Or they rolled, so I thought okay.
Sorry. I was looking at the wrong. I didn't see you put one in there. Yeah. So the technicians, the foreman, and the couple, like there are a couple of hired hands around that the foreman technically supervises, but
Excuse me.
clearly the bulk of the work is being done by these machines. They're all just like their eyes are wide at the whatever it is, the spots and the mold and things that you put on these logs. Tony, your story about, and that's where the giant crab came from. And the person who is injured is like, yeah, it bit me right here. And so they're all like, okay, we got to shut down. We got to get the what did you call it? The infection regulator or something? Yeah, we need to get those checked out. Let's send a letter to the architect with a report and ask for guidance. And so the technicians go off to take care of all that. Dem, I imagine that as all this is going on, because you said Gog, wants to kind of have the sort of silent imposing, which gives you opportunity to kind of case the area. You notice in the distance, like right at the edge of camp, where you can just see the edge of camp, you see a giant pangolin watching.
Penguin? Sorry.
What? Where is
Penguin. So let's say you're doing your presentation at your work tent. Everybody's kind of gathered around there. You can see this giant pangolin looking like it's trying to hide behind the rise over here.
What? What is that?
which
doing?
again does not belong on the Isle of Kortos. That's really more an Impossible Lands animal.
What is this doing here? There really is strange. Can I try to see where it came from?
You'd have to get closer.
Okay, I'm going to get slightly closer and be like, "Is all right?" You know, since it's a wild animal.
Yeah, and
hopefully it makes taste.
folks have broken by now to go do their tasks. So you are welcome to move over there.
Okay, I move over to the pangolin, and I'm as a druid. They probably won't attack me on sight, so I try to get over to them. I mean, do I see its tracks or anything? Or
You do see some tracks, and as you approach, it just sort of looks at you and tilts its head.
this is a work area. I am sorry, but you are not allowed here. So I'll just I'll just point it at a different place to go, or to leave, or go home, or some simple phrase. Or request for
Okay.
it to do so. But like,
Can you make a perception roll for me?
okay.
And it keeps tilting its head, looking at you, and then shrugs and turns and walks.
What was it confused about?
We should go talk to that. Probably.
I'd be able to track it.
Sure, it's not trying to hide. Like you could literally walk behind it.
I just kind of wanted to see where it's coming from. Like, I don't know if there's all these weird animals here. Maybe they came from somewhere in particular.
Yeah, it kind of follows the trail a little bit here, and then eventually turns off into the trees.
That's so strange. What could we do with
Does anybody else approach
Yeah,
behind
I'm
them?
up following
Behind
it.
Gog?
Yeah.
Okay. If you're following behind Gog, give me a perception check as well.
Sure.
creature doing here?
Open perception. Average.
Hey, Helen, you notice that on that ridge right next to where the pangolin was, you see something has been scratched into the side, but it's a language you do not recognize.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
Does do I know if any of my friends are good with other languages?
I know quite
yeah,
a
I'll
few.
take a look.
Mm-hmm.
I have
Okay.
a common, druidic, dwarven, ignin, which I think is a different word now, and orcish.
It is written in Druidic.
They're also a druid.
Neat.
What does this mean?
And in Druidic it says follow.
Okay, well then I will just follow. In that case, we must
That was
listen.
your perception roll was a natural 1, by the
That's
way.
fair. I'm more
Only
confused
way you
about-
could fail at it.
That's
Reveal
funny.
to everyone. There we go.
Oh.
Do you gather everybody else up, or is it the two of you going off into the woods alone?
Yeah, I gather everyone.
Come on,
There's-
guys.
Okay.
we've been called by
Follow.
druidic servant, I think, or a druid.
Very good.
So,
Very good. So you follow the pangolin's path. You eventually catch up to it. It's clearly not trying to hide because it wanted you to follow. And so we're going to move you over to
Do not own
what
any
you
token
find
at the
at the end
scene.
of the pangolin's path. What's that?
We don't own any tokens in this scene.
Oh, oops, that's right. I have to give tokens.
No, it's classic.
go.
It's what happens every time. Hey!
Dunya, Gog. There we go. It's just artistic. There's no actual. It's not a map, but
Still looks
it's
good.
at least pretty.
Pretty cool.
Um,
combat here.
And so eventually you do find your way to this little settlement where you see people going back and forth. The silence of the forest gives way to the footsteps. Oh no, wait, sorry. I don't want to. That's how this was originally written. I have to change it over. The pangolin, as you reach the edge of the settlement, the pangolin shifts and contorts its form into a halfling, whom Gog you recognize. Back when you were doing your stumping for your candidates and you talked with the local Immenkeeper Druid Circle, you recognize this as Carrie Mistmoon, and if you didn't get that name before, retroactively you did. And she says, you were fortunate, Gog Burnspeaker, that we met you before, else we would have assumed that you were working with these tree takers. We are still not sure why you have taken up working with them, but our circle agreed to give you the chance to explain yourselves. And as she says this, a few other representatives from the Druid Circle approach you, and you can tell they're not sure what to make of you, because you were on good terms with them when last you saw them.
This is a ruse. We are attempting to shut down this location. This was the best way for us to do it. I'm attempting to fake an illness of the trees of the area to get them to shut down these mechanical creatures so they will not be destroying the woods like as they currently are. As we come from Axe side, of course, logging is still sort of an important situation. We need to create things out of wood, but we can do it much better than these mechanical machines can do. Mechanical machines. Yes.
As opposed to magical machines.
Yeah.
As opposed to that.
Machine, hey,
That's actually
a
a good
pulley is
distinction.
not... So.
And don't forget the undead bunnies. Make sure to mention that. It's a key part of the plan.
Yeah, we'll get rid of them. Don't worry.
No, if the disease went well, I figured we didn't get to the undead bunnies. Like, she's gathering up, but the disease went well. It's like, okay, we don't need the undead bunnies.
Okay, well...
She jots down that brand new sentence that she has never heard before. Carrie continues, well, we are also distressed by these mechanical loggers. We have been attempting to shoo them away. But if you are working from the inside, we can take a more supportive role, if that is your wish. We are also caring for a messenger who escaped the worksite supervisor's capture. And you all remember that Axide sent a messenger to Turpin Row to try to find out what happened, and they had not heard back from that person. You can actually see them being tended to medically by the druids.
Oh.
Thank you.
I wonder if for both our benefits, we could work together on your infiltration and we provide you with support as needed.
Yes, that sounds
thank you.
great. Do not know if this is going to lead to violence. It might.
Well, we'll see if we can help you avoid that. You are welcome to lodge and eat with us whenever you need, but it seems you are quite comfortable at the work site. We can also provide you with with some healing magic each day. We found one of these devices discarded by one of the workers, and she hands you this clockwork recording device that they've been able to repair. The worksite supervisors discarded it, but the device can record up to 2 hours of audiovisual information. So that if you need to catch somebody on tape, you now have that information to take back to Axide.
Wear a wire.
Is there anything on
Yeah,
there?
you can wear a wire. No, it was broken and discarded, but they've managed to repair it with their nature knowledge. We have. She speaks to the others in Druidic for a minute, and she says, "We are also willing to bestow upon each of you a boon of primal magic." And she does a little ritual with you over a couple minutes that gives each of you the ability to cast Wild Shape once per day without a focus point. And you can also each take as a bonus feat a druid feat that requires Wild Shape as a prerequisite. So that allows you to expand your form to other things. And that boon lasts for 1 day, but they can renew it kind of each day and meet with you secretly while you're here. Yeah, so that is how they are willing to assist you. But I imagine you'll want to be getting back to your ruse. They'll be wondering where you have been, I'm sure.
Yes. I'll learn to control these forms you've bestowed upon us, but I think for now I must remain as I am in order to keep this up. But it'll definitely be good for sneaking if we need to.
And we could pretend to be other weird animals that have been infected.
That
I
is
was gonna
true.
Very
say,
good. Very
Yeah.
good.
But
I asked
yes,
the
thank
halfling
you.
if they were the crab. Were you the crab?
I'm a bit of an arachnophobic, so crabs kind of freak me out a little bit. That was Jerry over there, and you see the snow. Who's like,
That
Jerry the crab.
makes a lot of sense, actually.
Jerry the giant crab. New NPC if anybody's looking for one.
Gary the crab. Gotcha.
Jerry.
All right. Does anybody have any other questions for your new druid friends?
When did
Yeah, that's a good
How
question.
long has the camp been there? How long has the login camp been there?
That's a super good question that the author of this adventure probably should have put in here. It's so the strike's been
That's why
going
I'm
on for about a month. It's been here for 2 months because they were kind of getting it ready, and so it seems like, yeah, it was here before the strike happened. So this was not an answer to the strike. This was the plan all along. It sounds like.
And the machines have been here this whole time.
Yes, and she relays that the machines have been here the whole time, and they seem to be getting more efficient as time goes on.
Maybe
And that's really the root of Bomber's question is, it seems like their intention has always been to kind of replace people
Yes.
and kind of monopolize the market in that case.
Yes, these arcane innovations threaten to replace good, honest workers.
I wonder if we can sabotage them somehow.
That might be fun.
I think that's a great idea in the short term, and I think we should definitely do it. I wonder if we can learn more about the constructs to find a more permanent solution to them.
Makes sense.
The technicians, perhaps.
Yeah.
Artemis, you've already set yourself up as something of an expert. Maybe you can talk to the technicians and... I really want to see Tony try and bluff his way through that.
I have untrained improvisation, so I can bubble my way into the thing, but I am gonna get found out eventually. Like that, they're gonna be like, the what? And I'm gonna be like, and the
Yeah, but you should just go, raise the stakes on them then. It's like, wait, which school did you go to? You
Yes.
haven't even heard of the...
I guess I could just, let's see how long it carries, folks. I'll just keep lying.